fractal forms are forms found in nature, which if you put them under a microscope and you turn up the levels of magnification, at each level of magnification, you'll see the same organic pattern repeated. And at each level of that organism, the pattern is meeting a different need. We need to do that in business, we need to do that in civic life, especially in the age that is moving more into innovation phase. It helps us to identify multi-purpose solutions. It comes down to basically ask a simple question. When we solve a problem, what is the nub of that solution? What's the core of it? What kinds of problems will that solve? Aside from the immediate problem we have before us, what other kinds of problems might that essential solution solve? And in so doing, we identify a solution that can be carried into other areas of the enterprise, other projects. It's the ultimate recycling. You get greater innovation and more ideas for less money. That requires an holistic view of the enterprise. Department thinking is the death of innovation. Departments are important. They're good servants, terrible masters. Universities are probably the best examples and the worst examples of department thinking, where it works well and where it doesn't. But they're not the only ones. The bureaucracies in civic government, sometimes in business we do the same thing. Departmental thinking can be a good thing, but it can be the death of innovation because it stops people finding fractal solutions. They don't have a holistic view of the enterprise, so they can't address problems beyond their own individual little part. They become like Russian dolls, one inside the other, each one bearing no resemblance to the one around it except the general shape. The physical architecture is part of this. The physical architecture needs to match the cultural architecture. It needs to offer flexibility. When you go into Google London, as I did not long ago, and you look at the way Google there, it's a beautiful setup. It's all very fluid, it's very flexible. It borrowed the idea from MIT, which for the last 60 years as an organisation, an academic institute, has generated more practical innovations in engineering, architecture, medicine and other areas than any other single academic body. And for a long time, technologists could not work out why so much innovation came out of MIT until they began to look at what is called Building 20. Building 20 was the hub of most of this cutting-edge innovation coming out of MIT. Building 20 was built as a temporary structure during World War II, which means that nobody cared if you went inside and knocked a wall out here and kicked a door out there and poked a window in there. You didn't have to get the departmental permission to do these things. Nobody cared. Which meant that the architecture could respond to the fluid flow of ideas. If this department had an idea and wanted to work with that department, they could just knock the wall out. People could connect. So ideas could connect. Now, you may not be able to go back to your building today and start punching doors and windows out, but you can give some thought. We can all give some thought to the way people... Have you ever sat and actually looked at, just a little bit over the week, a few minutes here and there, how people move around in the space that you've provided for work? It's an interesting exercise because it suggests where the ideas are likely to flow, and you may want to start encouraging them to flow in a slightly different direction.